A visage so fair that one could confuse it for a maiden's, with eyes blue as the skies and skin smooth as the surface of a lake. The hair is white as snow, purer even than the angelic smile than the parting of crimson red lips reveals, lighting up this idyllic portrait. Such beauty is only rarely seen, a perfection that clashes with the presence of armor and the existence of an aquiline nose in the middle of a feminine face, as if to remind us that we are indeed dealing with a man. Far from the archetypal figure of the medieval brute, Griffith's silhouette has all the grace and elegance of a bird of prey, something that the beak on his helm reinforces, along with his wing-like locks. The ox's magnificent plumage offers diversion from the talon underneath, beauty and ferocity joining hands in this portrait of the perfect predator. And just like raptors require their share of blood, Griffith also has a taste for battle, making him the archetype of the gallant knight, both a man of action and virtues, with a refined appearance.
Do as you please.
Dazed by the crystalline surface of the lake, the voyager forgets about the depths. If his appearance is of note, it is his personality that truly sets this man apart, as his life philosophy foreshadows a being far more sinister than his angelic appearance might let out. The words, "do as you will," a staple of Wiccan religion, can be seen escaping his lips during one of his first apparitions. Interestingly enough, the second half of the mantra, "as long as you aren't hurting anyone," is nowhere to be found. This saying perfectly prefaces the morality of this man, and the dark shadow that his wings will be casting over the wood. For a leader of men, this permissive mindset might be seen as weak, but it actually rests on a common understanding that unites the troops led by Griffith, that while they retain their freedom as men, they are to put it at the service of this man's dream. The proper saying should therefore be, "Do as I will." The blatant spectacle of his whimsy is a key component of his leadership, a trait that could be interpreted as childish, but which hides a chilling reality. If Griffith feels so comfortable expressing his desires, it's because they always materialize. A will is a thought that then becomes a word. However, most of us stop there. We rarely ever make the jump to action, even leaving some of our wishes untold, almost ashamed of having thought them up in the first place. Not Griffith. Anything this man desires, he obtains, including other humans. If he's decided you're to his liking, you can already consider yourself his. Such is the confidence of a man who has destiny on his side. Only by fate can he be stopped. His self-belief is not based on anything tangible, like physical power or social status. Rather, it hinges entirely on natural-born instinct. Griffith was created with an extra sense that separates him from the average person. He is the hawk that flies above the mass, carried only by the breeze under his wings, and casting an enormous shadow on Doozy Lord's over. topped only for now by the sun above. This altitude of the soul puts him at ease to pick and choose which grounded chicken he will be feasting on next, making use of his superior swordsmanship to dispose of any obstacles. A swordsmanship that, like his spirit, doesn't seem to rely on any material advantages. He isn't the strongest, nor the fastest, but it seems as if the steel of his sword was tempered by the gods themselves. It never misses its mark. This makes him a semi-divinity of sorts. Reality seems to bend to his will, and the men that follow him obeys every orders, as if they were absolute. For him to uphold this status means that no defeat can come tarnish his godship, as a bested master is no longer one. This almost fanatical devotion to his own self is the key to his strength, but also his most fatal flaw. One can only imagine the horrors it would unleash if such a solar personality were to lose the fire that animates it, the star-turned black hole. It is that dichotomy between the candid demeanor and absolute conviction that attracts others to him, unaware that this gravity pull might eventually spell their doom. Guts is one such celestial body, and if a man of his ilk can be captivated and captured by Griffith, this only means one thing: the word is next.
I find you much to my liking. I want you to join me, Guts.
What is this? Why is he telling me all this?
Popularity is the ability to subconsciously convince people that following you is to their benefit. Even if we don't realize it, we are naturally attracted to those that we perceive to be superior, as they seem to possess the keys to this wood, and would like to follow them through that door. Whether we'll find bliss or despair beyond it, no one knows. Only the leader does, his followers blinded by the very halo effect that guides their steps. Such is Griffith's charisma, an energy with the power of rising armies and enthralling hearts, like a pagan spell of old. Even the people who've been snatched by it cannot readily identify the nature of its caster. They just know they wish to feed off his aura, regardless of its origin.
Griffith? And so, now you belong to me, Guts.
For a leader to be mysterious appears another blunder, as who would readily follow an enigma? And yet, we humans difficultly resist the call of the abyss, and a labyrinth is just as good a place to get lost as another. Griffith's ambitions have him soar so high that he can't really be called human anymore. And maybe that's why men adore him, because he's not like them. In this is explained the nature of God. A supreme entity is first and foremost defined by the fact that it englobes everything, and that it has conviction in its ability to do so. A deity never asks, "Can I?" It says, "I will." This belief in everything is impossible to understand for the common man, who constantly doubts himself even in the simplest things. Guts and the rest of the band are like that. It is the uncertainty of their situation and inability to visualize a future that made them want to follow Griffith, who more than anyone appears guided by fate. My own kingdom. Such is his dream, one befitting of his ambition, as all rule require land, and a leader who seeks to establish himself durably must ensure himself on earth. This implies many things. 1. That Griffith's superiority is to be established permanently within a social hierarchy, meaning that no equal will be tolerated. 2. That he will have to find a way to bypass the limitations of his birth. He who was born noble of nature, but not of status. A feat that requires a physiological reawakening of sort, as kingship is usually earned by birth. And 3. That the one permanent fixture of that kingdom will be Griffith, anyone else being a mean to that end. That his followers won't realize the sinister destiny for which they signed up is one thing, but that the imp in charge would himself be relatively blind to it is another, for nothing is more dangerous than an unaware tyrant. As the Pied Piper of the story, Griffith holds on his shoulders responsibility for the rodents that follow him, who, blinded by his feathers, decided to follow the ark. But his wings are carried by winds that are outside of the control of man, and no one is to say whether the group will land in heaven or skip right over it and make a permanent pit stop in hell. For whoever worships God needs to be prepared for the eventuality that the aloe he saw was in fact horns.